In this behind the scenes video, I'm going to show you why the Ram 1500 TRX, our long-term Ram 1500 TRX, is the perfect, the ideal camera car. So we're going to do like a little behind the scenes walk around and talk about how we work, what equipment we use, and why this makes sense for the kind of filming we do. So in case you didn't notice, we review cars, trucks, SUVs, and motorcycles on YouTube. And we typically have people on the camera, but we also have people off the camera operating the equipment and stuff. And when it comes to going on video shoots, we usually have a support vehicle. Now that support vehicle varies depending on the day and the kind of terrain we're doing and what we're doing, but the Ram 1500 TRX really is an ideal camera rig slash support vehicle slash everything vehicle for the kind of stuff we do. Now we buy these cars, we keep them for about a year, and then we sell them on, and it's a way to long-term test, but they're also very functional in how they operate and what they're used for. So for example, this is a great example. Behind the camera is Case, and then Alex is over his left shoulder, and those guys are out here doing a review of those little Honda motorcycles up there in Moab, Utah. Now we needed a vehicle to get those motorcycles to Moab, Utah in the first place, and that's where like the truck aspect of the 1500 really comes in handy. So we just threw them in the back of the bed. They are very small bikes, granted, but we were able to tie them down back there. Now I think that watching Alex load them up and down, sort of like the liftover height's a little tall on this truck, but the advantage of that is we needed the ground clearance out here doing some off-road trails, so there's like a give and take there. Now Alex doesn't like the fact that there aren't that many tie downs in the bed of the Ram 1500. He's kind of our motorcycle loading guru, but even still we were able to make it work. And this is the big advantage of having a truck, especially on these shoots, is you can just throw stuff in the back. Oftentimes we have recovery gear, and in this case of course we got a ramp, but if you had traction boards you could throw them in the back too. And that brings us to our next important aspect that we need in a camera vehicle, and that is the ability to tow a fairly considerable amount of weight. Oftentimes on shoots we have like a trailer for recovery in case we have like a vehicle that's stranded. So for example, on the no payment needed series, and for a few bucks less, we definitely needed the trailer capability of the support truck. And the Ram 1500 TRX will tow 8,000 pounds. It's a little low, to be brutally honest with you. Like, it'd be better if it was somewhere around 10 to 12, because sometimes we need to tow like a full-size truck, and 8,000 pounds when you factor in the trailer is typically not enough to do that. But for most things, the towing capacity is very useful. Now, one thing that isn't so useful from a camera perspective is the exhaust note. It is a 702 horsepower truck, and having that burble is great when it's the star, but in the background it can be a little bit obnoxious and a little bit annoying. Driving the Ram 1500 TRX really is a treat, especially out here in the beauty that is Moab, Utah. Now, it isn't so great in a city. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's way too big. It's too tall and it's far too wide. But if you've got the open space, the TRX is perfect. There's also other limitations, like if we're doing a trail where we've got a lot of wooded trees, oftentimes we can't take this truck just because it's simply too large. However, you bring it to an area where you've got some space to let it breathe, it is great. Now, I'm chasing Alex and Case on these little Hondas, and they're still a little quicker than I can comfortably go. I'm going to be brutally honest with you on that, even though they're 125cc, off-road scooters essentially. Now, I think an experienced driver could probably push this truck and easily keep up with them, but when you've got 600 pounds worth of video gear in here, like, you're going to want to probably take it a little slow and a little bit easy. Having said that, though, it is an excellent vehicle to traverse this kind of terrain on. Plenty of ground clearance, and we can give it to our least experienced off-road videographers, and they can pretty much get where they need to go with little difficulty. Now, it's not much of a rock crawler. If we're doing like a serious rock crawling shoot, you probably just leave the chase truck at home and tag along with whatever rock bug you were with. But for the most part, it is a ton of fun. Now, usefulness standpoint, the TRX is hard to beat. Would like a Ram 1500 do the trick, a standard one? Absolutely. Would a Rebel do the trick? Absolutely. But what the TRX adds is that long travel suspension, that super soft ride quality, which means you can get nice smooth shots even without breaking out really expensive camera gear, which is a good thing. Ooh, big hole there. And if you drive over holes that are too big, the 35-inch tilt tires will soak them up. Now, speaking of tires, I'm aired down to about 27 psi or so, and yeah, really impressed with this truck. Really impressed. It's been a good year-long truck with 10,297 miles on it. One thing that's great about any pickup truck, not only the Ram 1500, is that you have a lot of sheet metal on the back of the truck, which is very flat and upright, and that is super handy for when you're trying to do car-to-car stuff. So let me rub that dirt nicely into that paint there, but mount the camera with the suction, and then you can point it upward and really maneuver it around. So for example, on like a vehicle with a spare tire here, you have to shoot around the spare tire. On a lot of the new curvy crossovers, it's hard to get a flat piece of sheet metal to mount the suction to, and this is a really, really nice feature. These actually don't work very well on plastic either, so they have to be on steel or aluminum. So it's nice just having lots and lots of mounting points for cameras and the like. Now, from an inside perspective, it's an enormous truck. So currently, you can see the disaster of gear that is thrown in the back of this vehicle, and it really is just a mess of camera bags and personal bags and coats and stuff, and then when you're cruising down a trail, everything gets all jumbled up and thrown around. But the rear seat is enormous in this vehicle, really, really huge, and this is a huge deal. 3 of us, like for example, in my Wrangler, trying to do this video shoot would be impossible because there just isn't enough space in the cab. And then that brings me to the next point, which is the comfort and convenience. So we are going to be shooting 3 videos this morning, and we have to go drive 7 hours home, and the TRX is incredibly comfy. It's like a 1960s Cadillac in the way it just kind of wafts down the road, especially with the special suspension that the TRX has over like a Rebel. So one of the most comfortable trucks in the industry, and that means that when we're done with the shoot and we're all dirty and gross and tired and sore, we can still, you know, make our way back. It is a little too fancy for kind of what we need. It's got like the stitched leather dash, and that gets super dusty out here, and then it's a little bit trickier to clean, like with the suede. If we could have this vehicle with the same comfort but like in a vinyl with vinyl floors, and so we could get rid of these floor mats, that really would be perfect. Now from a capability standpoint, the TRX is a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, 700 horsepower. You'd be surprised by how little we actually use that V8 in our filming, but it is nice to have in case, I don't know, you have to do a really fast action shot and you have to get somewhere quickly. Now, fuel economy on the way out here, about 13.5 is what we average with the 2 bikes and then the 3 guys on the interior. So, you know, it is a little costly to run. It's actually very costly to run. I had to fill up about 2/3 of a tank before doing this trail yesterday, and it was $86 at the gas station because, of course, you want to run the premium fuel. So this is definitely what they call a double swiper when it comes to swiping stuff, swiping your card to fill up the tank. But apart from that, the suspension is excellent for filming too. Having that nice floaty ride means you got less jitter in the camera. The tow hooks have certainly been used on multiple occasions to tow stuck crossovers and vehicles out of the mud, and that's a lot of where the capability is really, really important as well. So easy to access tow hooks. Overall, an excellent vehicle, no reliability issues. It is a little expensive to be kind of beaten up out on the trail, $77,000. So from a price standpoint, it's pricey, but extremely useful, and certainly been one of the best video rigs we have ever used. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and as always, this has been Tommy, TFL Now. We'll see you on the next one.